Hi, I think we are live. I don't see anything yet, but I think, yes, I think we are live. So, hello, Facebook Live. Today I have a special person for you, kind of my neighbor from New Jersey, uh, Jason Layton from Master Octaves. Hello, this is going to be an amazing show. Hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you
And
very much for having me on. So
yeah,
excited.
I wanted to have you for a long time, but finally, the schedule worked out. And what is the name of today's show?
The Metaphysicist Guide to the Multiverse.
We're gonna be talking about a bunch of awesome things, so get ready,
Yeah.
people. And Jason's bio is so multi-dimensional, multi-level, multi-galactic that where shall we start? I mean, and you just opened a school, so but yeah, do you want to introduce yourself in the
Yeah,
beginning?
we opened an online school. It's the
Hmm.
mastersoctave.org. It's a nonprofit organization, and it's created to house people of like-minded who want to create spiritual engagements into the world and metaphysical works and arts and cultural and bring it all together. It's a really cool aspect that we have going on. And me, I am a metaphysicist, which a metaphysicist is a person who creates metaphysical theories and ideas. I am also a hypnotherapist because understanding how the subconscious mind works, I believe, is the most important ability to really make changes in our reality. And I'm the creator of the Soul's Dream course. It's a 7 lesson, 7 hour free online course that explains the nuts and bolts of the matrix from the beginning to the completion and everything in between. And I received a lot of that information through my years of channeling dreams, meditations, and going into other researching in other avenues. Um, and that's pretty much the synopsis of the whole entire course. But it's really great. It's my culmination of my work for the past 25 years. So
It's amazing, and
yeah,
I cannot wait to have a session with you as to go under hypnosis because that's one of the modalities that I haven't tried. And as for many of my viewers know that I'm struggling with the seasonal allergies, I tried a lot of different things, and so I'm very excited to to try the hypnosis with you. But yes, check it out, guys. This course is incredible. He's covers so many topics, and it's put it. You, Jason, you are a natural born teacher. You put everything in such a precise way, but also for beginners, medium, like
yeah.
multimedia, and for advanced people. All the people on different levels will find something interesting in the course. So it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that was my idea. My idea was
Hmm.
to start the course off very, very basic, like build the foundation of understanding our reality, and then really moving into a highly advanced understanding, which from lesson 5 to 7, I'm pretty sure not too many people, doesn't matter what their background is, have touched on that information because that information has been lost to us for a long time. And it's just starting to cycle into our reality again. We're starting to remember who we are. We're starting to awaken, right? The awakening process, the ascension. We're starting to awaken and remembering who we are. So that information's been lost for a very long time. And I had the experience probably in 2008 when I downloaded all that information. And I've been searching since 2008 up until last year, trying to find people who understood what I was experiencing at that time when I had that experience. And there wasn't many people that I found. But yeah, lesson 5 through 7 really ties in very, very deep understandings of who and what we are, how the stars work, what the stars are, what we are, and how we're working. So really exciting things. But the first few lessons are very basic. I mean, it's just understanding energy and how energy works within us and around us, and how everything is made up of energy. So I bring it from the basics to a very complex understanding.
But
And then every other week we have a Q&A. So every other Wednesday I do a live Q&A where people come on and we have a conversation about the information that's in the course. So a lot of it's complex and some people don't understand it. So it's good, to get together, create a community, create a group, and just have a great conversation. So it's fun. It's been a great experience for myself and for the people who are involved.
But yeah, there's nothing wrong with basics. And sometimes I love like spirituality, all this intergalactic stuff. I was always interested in this, like you, since we were children. But
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes we can forget about the basics. So it's always good to touch up on the basics. Plus, there's a lot of, I feel like in the last 2 months, there's so many people like one is searching for this information, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't say waking up because we already, it's like a real learning of the information because we already, everybody, we knew this in other lifetimes or on another planet. But so it's just very
Yeah.
interesting. We went to the cruise, yes, on the cruise in January. Well, that was interesting.
Oh, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, and then we were
Uh,
there during the super full moon and the eclipse, and was there the energy. Since I came back, I just feel like every day is something. Today I was making a smoothie, and another smoothie, a juice, and I have an angel juicer, and it always makes like faces, and I get an alien today. I'm like, this is perfect. I'm like, this is like a manifestation for our show. It couldn't be better. I never got an alien. I used to get butterflies, monkeys, all this different. For you especially, it was a cute
that's
little
funny.
alien. But
That's
yeah,
funny.
so um, let's start from the beginning then. So what is the matrix?
Well, the matrix is a construct for consciousness to have an experience. So the basic understanding of vibration, right? So we are energy. Energy is
Mm-hmm.
vibration. Now we measure energy by frequency, right? So if you meet somebody like, oh man, that person has good vibes.
Mm-hmm.
What are we talking about? We're talking about their vibration, right? Or you can just know when someone's a little off, like, oh, I got to hear from that person, because it's their vibration, it's their vibrational frequency that we're matching with. And then we meet somebody and it's like instant connection because they're resonating on the same wavelength that you're on vibrationally, right? So it's a great connection. So everything is about vibration here. So when we look at the universe, right, the
Mm-hmm.
universe is one verse in the multiverse, and there's multiple verses. I mean, there's just an infinite amount of verses, but this universe is based on vibration. It's based on polarity. It's based on light, dark, good, bad, dualistic expression. Okay, so we come into this universe so that we can master vibration and become masters of light and sound vibrational frequency so that we can leave this vibration, this universe, and take that into another universe and create in the multiverse and understand and be a master of vibrational frequencies. So when we look at vibration, this is a vibration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now how fast that's moving is the frequency of that. Now the matrix is the construct that consciousness can put itself inside of to have the experiences that it needs to become masters of vibration. So before we come into this reality, we're at a very, very high level, very high understanding of vibrational frequency, and we can instantaneously manifest anything we want. There's no limitations to who we are in the higher dimensions. When we come down to the lower dimensions, we're then struck with this thing called circumstances and consequences and all these things that are kind of, we want to move very fast, but we can't. We're kind of like in quicksand, you know. Our minds move very quickly, but our bodies take time to catch up because we're in this vibrational frequency of learning and understanding. So I'm not sure if you know what the yugas are or the great year. So the great year is a 26,000 year precession of the equinox, right? That's another word for it. So the precession of the equinox means it takes the stars, the constellations, to rotate one full rotation. It takes 26,000 years, and it's called the great year, or the gestation of the soul. So the soul comes into this experience at a very high level and then descends down in consciousness and then ascends in consciousness. And it takes 13,000 years descending and 13,000 years ascending. So that's the whole full 26,000 years. And within this descension process, there's these zodiac signs, right, that we call ages. We move into different ages. So we're moving into the age of Aquarius, right? The age of Aquarius is a vibrational frequency of the stars, right? So Aquarius is a constellation in the stars in the sky, and each one of those stars is a vibrational frequency of sound and light. And when you put the combination of those stars together, it creates a symphony. And that symphony is a vibrational frequency that we collectively in this reality, in the matrix, have an experience with. So as we move through these different constellations every 22,160 years, we have a different, unique perspective of the vibrational frequency of mastering vibration, dualistic expression. We come in as male, female, black, white, yellow. I mean, everything you can imagine. We're here to experience it all because we are here to master vibration. So we master everything in the descension process, which the descension is forgetting who we are. And then we move into the ascension process to master the ascending side of it. So you have bad on the descension and good on the ascension. Just very simple
Sorry
terms.
to interrupt you. So we're talking that about 3D, like where we are now, kind of.
Yes.
Yeah, the Matrix and 3D.
The Matrix. Yeah. So we're just coming out of the descension process. So 2012 was the marker of the descension process when we're in the ascension process. That was the big turning point, right? So they called it the end of time, the end of time. But the end of time is just the end of that era, of that time of the descension. Now we're moving to the ascension process. And as we move into the ascension process, what we do is we wake up, right? We start to become more awake, more aware. So as we wake up, we start to remember more. So we have these things called ages, the golden age, the silver age, the bronze age, the iron age. The iron age, what they're talking about are metals, right? But the metals are representing the consciousness, the collective consciousness of the beings that are here, right? So it's about density. So if you ever met someone, that person, like, oh, that person's pretty dense, right? They just don't get it. They're dense. Well, what does that mean? We're talking about a level of consciousness that they just can't comprehend. So the iron is the most dense in the whole entire cycle. So the golden age is the least dense, where we're able to perceive and receive information very easily. But then when we get into the iron age, we completely forget who we are. We have no idea why we're here. And we go through these experiences. Why? Because we want to understand vibration in all its avenues and in all its polarities and it's all its glamour and glory, right? So we forgot who we are. We're just coming out of this iron age. We're starting to move into this bronze age. We're moving into the age of Aquarius, the age of discovery, the age of uncovering, right? So that's Aquarius. Aquarius removes the veil and says, hey, this is what's been happening the whole entire time, the last 13,000 years. You guys have been manipulated and controlled, but by design. Because who you are is a being who is limitless, right? You think you're limited because we have these perceptions, we're indoctrinated into a system of beliefs to think that we're limitless, or limited, but we are really limitless beings. And it doesn't matter how many times you die and are reborn, your soul, who you are, who you truly are, is awareness. So as we're transcending these experiences, we're gaining all of this information, all of this knowledge, all of this wisdom that we can take with us when we leave this matrix. So the matrix is designed for us to come in here and have this beautiful experience. And now we're on this upshift where me and my wife were talking the other day about this. You see these kids on YouTube who are like 9 years old, 8 years old, and they're like incredible with guitar or piano or singing. It's like people are like, oh, they're old souls, you know? What's happening now is when we're transitioning into the death phase, and then we transition into coming back into the reincarnation, we're no longer forgetting completely who we are. So as we move into the ascension process, as we move through this phase now, what's happening is we're retaining our previous information. So as we move into this silver age and the golden age, we're going to have complete understanding and remembering of our past lives. Just like we're starting to wake up now to the understanding of Atlantis and Mu and the old civilizations that we have forgotten. Once we remember how to utilize that technology that we were using then, now it's going to be a completely different reality. But these kids that are coming in, they're not forgetting who they are when they go through the death process. They're holding on to a piece of it where they're remembering it. So then they come in here, they're 3, 4 years old, and they still have remembrance of their previous life where they were masters at guitar or piano or singing, right? So that's why these little kids are absolutely, they're astonishing. They're amazing that are coming in today because they're remembering, just like we are starting to remember. And it's only going to get better and better and better. Even though there's so much stuff going on in the background, that's still control from the old paradigm. The old paradigm had a control for 13,000 years, right? So that program was designed to bring us down into the depths of unconsciousness. And that program is still in play. We're kind of like in this transitional phase now, right? Where we're waking up, but yet we're still not awake. You know, like it's all around us. And there's a control structure in place that's there to hold us down. And it's there to hold us down because we want to be able to awaken ourselves, right? We don't want no one to do it for us. You have to do it yourself. So it all comes down to you doing the work. No one's going to do it for you.
I have I have a comment. Some people think that other people gonna do it for them, and I see actually that's why we're seeing a lot of collapsing of these gurus and even in politics because and a lot of judgment and people are like in shock because
Yeah.
they trusting into other people. No one is going to save you.
Yeah.
Yes, no one. You can only do it for yourself, and actually all the people around you is a holographic universe that they are actually a
Yeah.
reflection of you, right? So if
Yeah.
something is happening that you don't like, you actually, I know it's sometimes we don't want to hear it. Like we made this because we need to learn the lesson, yeah. So our soul
Yeah.
needs to learn it, and it's
Yeah.
frustrating. Like I'm dealing with some lessons myself. I'm like, oh, here we go again. So,
Right.
so yeah, it's like no one, like as you said, no one is. So that was my comment, and one more comment. So we ascending to central sun. Where are we ascending?
Well, we're ascending back to the source, whatever the
Okay.
source is. I
Okay.
mean, it can get complex, and I
Yes.
want to keep it as simple as
Mm-hmm.
possible. It doesn't matter if it's central sun or this whatever it is.
Whatever it is.
Just to know that we are ascending and that things are getting better.
Mm-hmm.
What's happening is there's so much stuff going on around us with the government and these frequencies that are being held to manipulate us, to hold us back, but it's all there by design.
Mm-hmm.
And once you take control of you, none of these things can affect you. Absolutely nothing can affect you because everything is a vibrational frequency. And if you hold yourself in the highest vibrational frequency, nothing can affect you. And now, how do you do that? The best way to do it is self-talk. What are you saying when you look in the mirror? What are you saying about yourself when something goes wrong? What are you saying about somebody else when something goes wrong? Remember, they're a reflection of you, right? What are the images you hold in your mind? These are the most important things that you will ever do in, in creating sovereignty for yourself. If we keep on looking to the government for security or for to be saved, we're never going to get that because that's not what it's designed to do. Really, the government today, if you look at it, it looks like it's more of a control structure than anything else. So you can keep yourself in that control structure or you can release yourself from it. It's entirely up to you, right? The government's there, it's doing what it's doing. It's your call. It's 100% up to you. But a lot of people are so in the grind of the everyday grind, they're so indoctrinated to be in the system that it's hard to see yourself even out of the system, right? Meaning it's so hard to change your thought patterns.
Very hard. And a lot
It's
of the
so
people, it really is like the movie The Matrix, yes? It's like we living in the Matrix, like you going, like you sleeping, and then you wake up in another dream. I think that's why a lot of people are so,
right.
young kids, they're so drawn into computer, like video games, because it's like, for them it's so easy just going into these other realities. They love the
Right.
computer games.
Yeah. Well, that's also a phase of Aquarius. So the
Mm-hmm.
Aquarian energy is about technology.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why we're seeing this massive technology boom from the early 1900s to now. I mean, think we're only 120,
Mm-hmm.
130 years in this whole technology boom. Think where we were in the early 1800s, right? We were just kind of getting to this idea of technology. And then you've had Nikola Tesla come out and doing all this amazing stuff in the early 1900s. I mean, he had wireless communication in the early 1900s. And then here we are with cell phones today. We're like, oh, this is new.
Yeah.
This fucking
It takes
early
a long time in
1900s.
3D to manifest, right?
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that
Yes.
too, because I mean, there's a reason for that. But the thing is this massive technology boom that's coming in, and all this technology that's happening, is because of the vibrational
Mm-hmm.
frequency that the vibrations of the stars are projecting into our reality. It's kind of like a fishbowl, right? So you're in a fishbowl, you have your fish in the fishbowl. If you put a heater in the fishbowl to heat up the water, the fishes are going to heat up, right? So as these stars change constellations, as they move into different angles and aspects, they reflect on our chakra systems. Our whole entire being is made up of energy. And we have different energy systems within ourselves that are in correlation to not just physical light, right? Not the visible light spectrum, but the whole electromagnetic spectrum. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not real, right? You can't see the waves that the phone is emitting to connect us, just like we're doing online right now, right? You can't see these waves, but they're there. Our bodies are so advanced. It's so incredibly amazing how advanced our bodies are, but we don't always say is, oh, this is me, right? The visible light spectrum. But the visible light spectrum is only 370 nanometers wide. Think about that. 370 nanometers. So you say, well, what's that? If you think of a piece of paper is 100,000 nanometers thick. And we're only seeing 370 nanometers of the whole spectrum. So there's so much more to us that we can't see with our eyes, but we can sense with our hearts, and we can sense with other feelings that we don't have words for right now, right? Because we have lost that technology, that understanding. There's other realms that are around us that we can't see, but we have access to. But it all starts with you taking control of you here and now. And how you do that is by watching your words, most importantly, and then watching the pictures that you're putting in your head. For instance, since we're talking about your allergies, right? You have this allergy situation going on. So someone tells you, oh, that it's going to be there for a long time. If you accept that, that is going to become your reality. You don't have to accept that. You don't have to accept anything.
I don't accept that anymore. I was saying this spring, I'm allergy free. I was saying this since fall. I'm like, this is it. I'm done. And I also did a lot of healing, but I'm like, I'm not accepting it. And I feel a little better. I mean, I am doing a lot of modalities, and you know, it's just, it takes work, but it's, you have to stay in that high vibration.
That's the beauty. It takes work. And we're here. Nobody wants to sit around and do nothing. We're creators at our core. We love to create. We love to share. We love to be with people and share our experience with people and share our creativity with people, right? Everybody at their core is a creator. You look at every child that comes into, first grade, kindergarten, these kids want to play. They want to play and create and use their imagination. And then as we get indoctrinated into the system, we remove the play, we remove the creativity.
Don't even tell me, I'm a teacher, so it's like the educational system is not working anymore.
But the reason why it's not working is because we're moving into a different phase of our existence. And that old paradigm, that old structure is out of the Iron Age. That whole entire structure of the indoctrination system, of the government and the schools, that all came out of the Iron Age. Now, when you look into the Iron Age, what was going on in the Iron Age? I mean, you had the Crusades. What was going on in the Crusades? The Black Plague, all this
people didn't know how to read. I mean, only like the church people knew how to read. Women couldn't, forget about, so it was just very different.
It was a lot of suppression, a lot of suppression. I mean, even if you look back 60 years ago, the racism in America, I mean, that's not happening now. I mean, it's still here, right? There's still pockets of racism, but it's not like it was then. I mean, the people are awakening. There's a massive awakening happening. And to us, it's like, it's taken years and years and years. But it took 13,000 years for us to forget who we are. Now we're just starting the awakening process. But people are awakening. And they're awakening to eating healthier. You know that, right? Because what you're doing, people are waking up to eating healthier. Your book is selling because people understand the importance of what you put in is what you get out. So not just physical food and matter, but this is one of the most important things that we have. What are we putting in here, right? What you put out, you regurgitate. And that's why in the beginning people would say, in the beginning for me when I started getting into my awakening process, people were like, don't watch the news. And I didn't understand that. But now I understand it. It's not about the news is bad. It's just about once you put that information in, you start to regurgitate. You regurgitate that information. So it was interesting because my great-great-great-grandmother, she would watch the news all the time. That's all she did, right? So she was programmed to watch the news. And then she was so scared of the news, right? She's so much crap happening. And yet she didn't like it, but she spent the rest of her day talking to her friends about all the crap that was on the news. So you're spending all of your life, your time, your essence, your beingness in regurgitating the thing that you didn't like at all. So that's why it was so important in the beginning. People were like, stay away from that and just focus on what you desire, not what you don't desire. Because the more you focus on what you don't desire, you give that power.
I love what you touch on that, because a lot of people say, I'm a lot of about food, and when I talk to clients, a lot of them, I would say number one is about they want to lose weight. But food, like losing weight and food is maybe, I will say 30% about food, like really what you eat. Yes, I mean, of course, eating organic, eating farm raised or whatever, but really it's your emotions and like what are you telling. Like I have
Yeah.
this friend, and every time I'm out with her, she says I can't eat this cake, and she's counting calories. She's always on the diet. She's never happy with her body. She's so self-judgmental, such self-judgmental of herself, and I'm like, just forget about it. Just enjoy the food, because your body's always listening, and all the cells in your body. Yes, it's like the life
Yeah.
is always listening. It's really so important what we say. And like this gossiping, and like sometimes with social media, there's so much gossiping and judgment, and all these people, like, it's just drop it and like really don't. What you surround yourself, that's what that's, it's like an echo, like like a
Yeah.
mirror around you, right?
Yeah, yeah. What you're putting in is what you're going to regurgitate out. So it's so important to put in good stuff. And for people who don't meditate, I highly suggest you do, because meditation is your direct connection to your source, your higher self, your subconscious mind. And when you have access to this, you can start to use that to really start programming yourself to what you want to experience, what you want, what your desires are. So I think some of the issues that are happening now is the creativity is lost in a sense, right? So people today don't know how to put the images in their head of what they want. They're so focused on what they don't want. You can see it in the words, like, oh, I don't want that to happen. Instead of saying, oh, this is what I want to happen, instead of what I don't want to happen. People today always focus on what they don't want. If we can just change the mindset from that just to what I want, it's a massive, massive change, right? So for people who want to go on a diet, right? The issue with diets are it's you're thinking food, but it's all mind.
Exactly.
It's all in the pictures in your head. If you change the picture in your head of your association to the food, guess what's going to happen? Your association to the food's going to change. I mean, I seen on, I think it was like Stan Lee's, he had this like superhuman show on, like, I don't know, A&E or something like that. It was a while ago. But there was a guy on there who was eating glass. And I'm thinking to myself, if this guy can eat glass, does it really matter what we eat? I think it's all thought. Everything we do is thought, right? It's all about how we think and how we process our thought, and the pictures that we hold. Those are the key points. And that's why I got into hypnosis, because I understood that the subconscious mind is the key to accessing our greatest potential. Because once you can program your subconscious mind, your subconscious controls everything, your physiology, your heart, your breathing. I mean, you don't think about any of that, right? You just walk around, hey, blah, 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 talking. But the subconscious is controlling everything. So if you want to make a change to this, you have to program the subconscious, and the subconscious can make the change. I mean, there are numerous evidences of healings, spontaneous healings, of people being healed. And how does that happen? It happens based on belief, because they go to a healer and they put their belief in that healer and they have that experience. The placebo effect on the drugs, stuff the pharmaceuticals are selling, have a 75% placebo effect, or up to a 75% placebo effect, which means 75% of the time, people are healed on the placebo. That is incredible, showing the power of the mind. So if we start putting the right pictures into our mind, our subconscious goes, oh, that's what you want. I got it. Instead of saying, oh, this job is making me sick. I can't stand being at this job. I just need time off. Then all of a sudden you get the flu and you have all this time off. But is that the time you wanted off? You wanted time off?
No, but your body was listening to you and said, you want to get off? I give you off, right?
Exactly. That's what the mind does. The mind doesn't know the difference between what is reality and what is not reality. For instance, right, this is like the whole mind thing of the lemon, right? So if you were to imagine a lemon in front of you, you're holding a lemon in your hand right now, and just think about,
am I supposed to do that?
Eating. Just think about it. Just think about putting that lemon into your mouth right now. And when you bite that lemon, you're biting that lemon, you can feel the saliva starting to generate inside of your cheeks here.
I feel already, because I love lemons.
Yeah, but you know, it's like your whole physiology changes, and there's no lemon here. It's just based on a thought. So your body is then being prepared based on a thought that you're having. So what we're telling ourselves, our mind, our subconscious mind, will bring us. It'll manifest that experience for us if we're clear and concise on exactly what it is that we want. So in my course, I talk about, I believe it's lesson 6, about the I am presence and the infinite and the finite. The infinite is all possibilities. So our friend Marina Jacoby, she talks about parallel realities and alternate timelines, right? I would call that the infinite. Well, anything that could exist already exists in the infinite. Now, in the finite is where we experience single things, right? So we have our ability to experience one thing at a time, whereas when we live in the infinite, the source, God, whatever you want to call it, you are all that is. So you can't experience one thing at a time. So we created a place of the finite, of expression, where we can have laws and experiences called the matrix, right? So we pull from the infinite into the finite to have the experience. So everything that you can imagine already exists. But what you have to do is become a match vibrational frequency. You have to become a resonance to that experience and bring it into yourself. So our hearts are huge magnetic generating devices. Now, if you look at heart math, they say that the heart can be measured up to 12 to 13 feet around the person, the magnetic vibrational frequencies, right? Our hearts are so powerful. So what's happening is we have these 7 chakras, right? We have our 3 top chakras, our 3 lower chakras, and we have our heart chakra in the middle. If you look at our 3 top chakras, right? We have our crown, third eye, and our throat. These are all about communication, right? So they're very high vibrational frequencies. And when you look at the colors, you have ultraviolet, navy blue, and light blue, right? Now, if you look at the color spectrum of the visible light spectrum, ultraviolet's the highest vibrational frequency in the spectrum, right? In the visible light spectrum. And then you have infrared, which is the lowest. Now, if you look at our 3 lower chakras, you have our root chakra is red, right? It's a very slow vibration. Our emotions are very slow, where our thoughts are like this. So you have 80,000 thoughts a day. But once you tie an emotion to a thought, that becomes your reality. And we lock our emotions into our heart, and we lock our thoughts into our heart, and then we project that into our reality. That becomes our experience. So I had a panic attack probably about 3 years ago, roughly. And I was up on stage giving a presentation. Now, I never had a panic attack before this, but I had some things going on the night before, so I was up all night, and I was just out of it that day. So I was thinking about, before I went up on stage, I'm like, oh, what happens if I mess this up? And I'm like, oh, get out of here. I'm not going to mess this up. So anyway, I go up on stage, and I had that thought pop into my head as I'm up on stage. And then as that thought came in, I tied an emotion to it. Once I tied an emotion to that, it became a feeling and manifested here. And my whole physiology just changed. Boom. I forgot everything. I'm like, I can't even think now. Like, my mind is blank. I can't think. Nothing's going through. Nothing's coming in. I'm like, sweating profusely. I'm like, what's going on? I walked off stage. I was like, I can't do it. I'm done. I just walked off. But what happened is I had a thought, and then I had the thought again, and I tied an emotion to it. Once you tie an emotion and a thought together, it becomes a feeling, and it becomes your reality. So that's why it's so important to watch the thoughts that are coming in. So it's as you're going through your day, and a thought comes in, and you're like, where did that come from? It's not like you just say, oh, I'm done with that thought, right? Examine it. See where the association is to why you have that reaction to that thought, right? Kind of sit down and really think about it, and then conversate with it, right? So when you have a conversation, what's going to happen is it's going to bring you back to an experience you had in your past. And when you can remove those experiences, those what I call a block or a blockage from our past experiences, you then no longer have an emotional tie to that. And that's what hypnotherapy does, what hypnosis does. It removes those blocks of energy that lock into our chakra systems and that hold us back from achieving certain things, like I'm not good enough, right? You are definitely good enough. You are amazing. You are a being who is here alive with so much potential and ability. But we just think, oh, I'm not good enough to do that, or I have to work more, or I have to do this more, I got to do that. I'll never have this if I don't do this. All of that's just mind chatter that was taught to you, either from your friends, your family, the indoctrination of the system itself. But if we release all that and we start faking it until we make it, guess what happens? We're going to make it. Because our mind says, I know what you want, I know what you want, I know what you want. Because if you speak in negative, I don't want this, the mind says, oh, you want that? You know, so we don't want to speak in negatives anymore. We don't want to say we don't want things. We want to always look at what it is that we want. And we want to manifest that energy in our hearts, that magnetic, huge thing inside of our heart to pull from the infinite the experience that we want to resonate with. So if it's money that you want, how are you going to expend that money? Experience yourself in your meditation, not only having the money, but experience yourself spending the money, experiencing the vibrational frequency of the emotions, not just the thoughts of the money itself, and you then become a match vibration to that experience.
I have a question. Hold on, sorry to interrupt you because you're talking so many awesome things. And somebody sent me a message here through the messenger, a question. Can you explain more what really, like, how the hypnosis, what did she say, how the hypnosis appointment goes? Like, I guess they mean like the whole session. And then just commenting on the chakras, the heart chakra, it's green. And think about around the world, what's the most popular, like, nature is what? Green.
Yeah,
Yes. And I mean
green.
ocean is blue, but like
Yeah,
green. Yes, it's like mother nature, like planet earth loves us, and that's why she spreads the green. So
yeah,
it's amazing. And the red, like you were saying, the root chakra, I mean, make rainbow smoothies. It's about like different colors. If
yeah,
somebody's lacking something in their chakra, like chakra blocks, it's good to use the color therapy, which you can do it for different things, but like with food too. And then you can help. So like root vegetables, a lot of them are red, like beets. I had a beet juice
yeah.
today. And something else I wanted to say and I forgot, but yeah, it's amazing. So can you comment before we go forward, like how would they, and then we can talk about the money. And I know what I wanted to ask you. And what if somebody, like you imagining these for the hypnosis or whatever, like affirmations, those positive things, but some people have blocks. They've been so into negative self-judgments or self-hatred even, or like being not enough, that they
Yeah.
can't even imagine, like they can't even feel. It's not even imagining. I feel like you have to feel it to believe it. Yes, to like, how do they do this if they so into, like, so low into the vibrations or emotions, I don't know, or the past, whatever you call it. So
Right.
maybe we can talk about this, but yeah, start with
Yeah.
the
Well,
hypnosis.
all right. I'll work backwards from where
Okay.
you're at there. So I think the best place to start is to set time aside for yourself. I mean, that's the best time. You need time for you, and it's not time to sit here and watch TV. I mean, because TV is programming,
Mm-hmm.
right? Television programming. You're being programmed when you're watching the TV. There's a flicker rate inside of the TV that puts you into a nice alpha state
Mm-hmm.
of consciousness where you're just relaxing. It's all just feeding you
Mm-hmm.
all that they're programming. So you want to set aside that time for you, and really think about what it is that you want. And then when you sit down, you can go outside and just stare into nature. It's all about either staring at something and just focusing intently on something, and then, because that puts you in the hypnotic
Mm-hmm.
state, right? So the old way of hypnosis would be look at the watch,
Mm-hmm.
right? So staring, it arrests the conscious mind. So when you arrest your conscious mind, you give your conscious mind something to look at, you can bypass that and go to your subconscious mind. And it's there that you want to implant what it is that you desire. So you just go into nature, or sit down and close your eyes and visualize what you want, or just think about what you want every single day. What do you want to experience? And really, really think about that and feel it as if it's already done. That's the most important part, is to feel it as if it's already done. For instance, if you're going to buy a car, right? Everybody's bought a car. So this is a great example. You're going to go buy a car. Say you want a Ford Escalade. Is that an Escalade? Yeah, a Cadillac Escalade. So you look up Escalade. You go, oh, that's the one I want. That's what I'm going to get. And then all of a sudden, you start thinking about it all day long. You start doing more research and keep on looking at it. And then you're looking at your phone and like, oh, that's the one. That's the color. That's the one. Well, you just keep on looking and looking and looking. What you're doing is you're manifesting these emotions into the experience. Before you know it, that's an experience. That's a reality for you. It's happening. It's in your life. You're driving this Cadillac Escalade. So if we can attach the correct emotions and the correct thoughts to the experience that we want, we become a resonant vibrational frequency to it, and that becomes our reality. That's the law. It becomes our reality, no matter what. So the subconscious mind is the key to accessing what it is that you want. So you can find a bunch of online meditations for,
Like self-hypnosis, you mean?
yeah, stuff like
Do
that.
you like? Do you think those are good?
I think it's a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a fantastic place to start, because some people don't have money to do sessions,
Mm-hmm.
So it's just important for you to set aside time for you, because you are the most important thing in your whole entire life. Now, you may say your family is, your friends are, no, you are. Because without you, you wouldn't be here. So it's so important to take care of you first, right? If you want to first save the world, you must first save yourself, right? So
Of
if you want
course,
to change
heal
the world, you
yourself,
want to
heal the
first
world.
change it. Yeah, it all starts with you. Because once you're healed, you're in a place where you're like, I feel good. And you can share that vibrational frequency with everybody you meet. Hey, this is how I did it. So it's so important to start with you every single day. Set 5 minutes aside. You have 5 minutes. You can set 5 minutes of time just for you to be with yourself and really start experiencing your conscious and subconscious mind. I think that's the most
What
important
if
place to
people
start.
fell asleep? Like sometimes people
So,
say
yeah, it's
it does.
fine.
It's